Create with Fran Sydney. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. This is Fran Sydney and this is Create with Franz. And Happy New Year to all of you guys listening today. We are now in the new period, when you're all excited and all this new, I want to do something new. And then people think after a couple of weeks, well, I don't have the stamina for this, I can't do it. I have my goals, but I can never get to do anything. So let's talk about this and let's talk about one big trick, or maybe two or three that we can use to make sure that our goals make it to the end of the year and we reach what we want. How is it possible? By knowing a little bit about how our mind works. Stay tuned. So let's get started straight away and go straight to the point. New year, new you, right? So how do we not lose the steam? How do we get to where we want to be? It's just something about what we're doing and what we're not doing and what we should not be doing that is not taking us to where we want to be. So the basic thing that I want to share is that we have to understand that to obtain something, we usually have to take action in that direction. But it's not really a one-day event. It's a process, and this process has to be consistent and happen every day. And if we keep working on that, it's going to become a habit. So why do I say that? Because it's the good habits that will create the future that we want. Not one single event. I don't know if you have listened to many of my past episodes, but we did talk about this before, so I hope it's not too much of a repetition for you guys, but we want to repeat things so we learn them. And the thing is, this is possible because when we repeat an action, there are some little small changes that take place in the parts of our brain that is processing the memories. So we have lots of type of memories. Two that are important to remember are the episodic and the procedural memory. Now, episodic is just when we recall an event that happened in a specific day and time. For example, last week I went to the cinema. There we go, that's episodic memory. But procedural is a little bit more interesting and it's called also implicit memory. And this is when we remember the sequence, a very specific sequence of steps that we need to take to achieve something. So it's a long-term memory and it's a memory of the skills that you will have involved in a particular task. For example, riding a bike, walking, cooking, playing, swimming, they're all ingrained skills. But how do we become ingrained? With repetition. And so we remember this sequence of stuff because we do it over and over and over. How does that happen? So let's pretend that we can open our brain and inside is full of neurons. There are lots of other things. There isn't just that. But there are neurons. And they have little ends and they have to connect to the ends of other neurons and they form a synapses. And then with that, we form a procedural memory. So what happens is we repeat the action. We are sending the same signal over and over to those neurons to connect to other neurons. And they are gonna be wired together. And as you know, from Joe Dispenza, from me, from Bruce Lipton, the neurons that are wired together will fire together. So these actions that we keep repeating and repeating become automatic. And we also can call this unconscious. And so that's why hypnosis works really well, because it works on what is automatic and unconscious, and it brings it back to reality so we realize what it is and we can change it. So if you're still with me, let's move to the next bit. So how do we improve this amazing procedural memory? There are 3 things, maybe even 4 that we can do. The one big thing everyone is not really taking seriously is to get enough sleep every day. And research proves that if we want one single thing to destroy our memory, that we can do every day is to lose sleep. So by keeping up late every night and by not sleeping when we're supposed to sleep, we are destroying our procedural memory. Interesting, isn't it? My second tip is to work out what your goal is, and you have lots of episodes from last year and the year before about goals. And then you design and you follow a very specific sequence of steps that will help you to achieve what you want to achieve. Whether it is to learn how to dance or to learn how to type, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, you want to get those steps down very, very specifically. Learn them, repeat them. For example, playing a musical instrument, how many scales do you want to do? You have to be very, very specific in knowing which sequence you have to follow. And then you have to repeat, and repeat properly. Number 3, you want to work on activities that will require muscle coordinations. For example, playing the piano, throwing a ball, repair something a bit fiddly, do up a laces, button up a button. All things where you have to coordinate your mind and your fingers and moving and do things together. They get your memory to work better and to improve the coordination and the new connections that you need so you can remember sequences of actions. But there is another step you can make to make this even better. And I'm going straight down. And this is to visualize in your mind every step that you will take. So if you, for example, want to establish the habit of meditating or exercising every morning, the steps that you want to visualize might be, depending on the order, get up, maybe breathe deeply or have a shower, maybe put on special exercise clothes or something you do for meditation, turn on or off a warm light or a cold light, whatever you want, and so on. So you have an order of things that you will do, what you will do just before this, during this process, and right after. So you want to visualize in your mind the entire process, how it works, how it feels, and then repeat this in your mind. And what happens is, because your brain doesn't know if something is real or not, if you're just thinking about it, you will be building the neural connections straight away before you have even taken action. If you're thinking that it is impossible and this is mad science, first of all, this all comes from research. It's not my opinion. But second, why don't you try to see what happens if you are going to meet a person that usually make you really upset and whatever, and try 2 different things. One day try to meet this person right after thinking for the whole hour that this person is wonderful, you're going to be amazing, and everything's going to be peaceful and calming, and you're just going to be so surprised it just went so well. Another day, when you're going to meet this person, do the opposite. Before you meet them, make a huge list of all the things that they've done wrong about you or against you. Make a list of how bad you feel and how much you hate them and what you will reply if they attack you. Try to really go, down and think of every single sentence you will tell them. And then see when this person shows up, how you will repeat the things that you have practiced in your mind before. And if you practice the positive ones, you will be a lot more positive. But if you practice the bad stuff because expectations are bad, you're going to really go down the drain with that person. Because you have practiced this, you're ready for that, you're going to have all your energy there because your neurons are ready to fire together. It's that fast. So after saying that, we have to add the little thing, of course. I know that you're going to say this. You're going to say, Franz, I know. I can do everything about my goals on the first week of January, the second week, maybe 3 weeks. But then there's going to be the day when I'm too tired to do it. Or I don't feel like doing it. Or I might be too busy. So I will not be able to jump back on the horse and continue to build up my habit. I'm going to lose track. And I know this happens to a lot of people. It happened to me, happens to everyone. We are humans. We already have a full episode on explaining why we cannot wait to feel like doing something before we do it, because otherwise we're never going to do anything. There is also an episode about self-sabotage and maybe 1 or 2 about procrastination. So if that is a problem where you are stopping, then you go back. And obviously, if you see that whatever you do, it stops in a week, then come back to me and have a session of coaching or hypnosis or RTT or whatever, or Ericksonian hypnosis, and see what we can get. What is going on here, that you always react in a certain way and then things are not happening. So Don't worry about that. We're gonna get there. But there is one little thing that I want you to observe about our brain. We have a brain down in the skull. It's full of magical things. Most people have no idea what the brain does. It's just very little. The researchers find out new stuff all the time. So in our brain, there are parts that will tell us what we are supposed to do and what we're not supposed to do. Do this and don't do that. And all these do and don't do are pretty much based on a lot of assumptions and beliefs that we have. Some are limiting, some are not very limiting, some are good. But this is all based on the values that we assign to every activity. So some activities will be negotiable. Should I or should I not run for 30 miles a day? Look outside, it's raining, it's cold. Negotiable, I'm not going to do it. It could be something negotiable for you. But for another person, that activity could be essential. Oh, I had a heart attack. The doctor told me to walk 20 miles a day. I'm going to go whatever the weather. So it becomes an essential thing. So you have a to-do and then not to do. So no matter what will happen, unless there is the end of the world, a tsunami or somebody died, you are going to do those activities. For example, most people in the morning will go and maybe wash your face or brush your teeth, because it doesn't matter how overwhelmed they are, how tired, how depressed, how rushed, most people will do them unless they are really, really, really in a bad condition. So there are things that we just do. And I would call this like a neural imprint, because we create these values and they tell us every day what is that you have to do, and this is the specific thing that will have to happen. Whatever is going on in our life, we're gonna have to eat because we think it's very important. And so to make it easier for our brilliant mind to be oriented towards the execution of a specific habit that we want to create, we have to start thinking in the way that the mind thinks. So we want to think about all the things that will precede the action and all the things that happen during the action and the one that happen after. And we're focusing on creating a good trigger, an automatic reflex that will come because we repeat it and because we naturally come to do that because we know. So we positively anticipate. It's morning, the alarm had just come up or the sun has come up. Well, depending on where you are. But you wake up and say, right, when this happened, I feel energetic and happy because I know that now I'm going to do the X activity that I've decided. Okay? Or every day after lunch, I'm so excited because I know that in a half an hour, I'm going to be doing that and that and that, which I decided is part of my goal. Or it's dinner time, I'm so excited because now I can finally do this. So you create this anticipation of the action that you're going to do. And also you create a reward because you are taking this new habit into your life. As you keep thinking, visualizing and positively anticipating what's going to happen before and after this specific action, which will be the base for your new change, your new habit, that will eventually change your life, what you're doing is you're triggering something new. So those neurons that before were triggering a bad behavior now are being changed because you are replacing unwanted behavior with good and rewarding behaviors that are going to give you stuff that you actually want. So what happens is, slowly, you change your bad habits into good ones. I'm very aware that it's absolutely possible that every day we start all in a good mood and then we realize that we are doing something that is stopping us from achieving the goal. Maybe we are going to the piece of extra chocolate, or we are wasting time on social media, or we're just talking endlessly on the phone with somebody, or we're just watching television forever. Whatever is the thing that is stopping us, is distracting us, or is making us feel that, oh, we don't have time for this anymore. What you have to do is simply, without all the guilty and the negative cycle of smoking, drinking, and harming yourself, you just stop. Whenever you catch yourself doing the wrong thing, just stop and immediately replace it with a good action. A good action that is spending your time in a better way, even if it's not the action you wanted, but it's a good action. So what's going to happen is you're going to have at least two results. The first result is that you are connecting all your bad behavior with good behaviors. So you are creating new circuits in your neurons. That's very good. And so those neurons will create a new automatic system of trigger to bad behavior to crumble. So your automatic system of reacting to a certain thing in a bad way will not be standing, because you then at a certain point interrupt the circle or the circuit with a different action that doesn't make any sense. And eventually, because you keep repeating this break, this will disrupt the automatic thing that, every time I feel anxious, I start screaming, or I start crying, I start smoking, I start screaming, whatever it is. If you change when you're right there, your brain will take notice. Of course, there is also a second result, and this is because you will start to recognize what is actually happening just before you start your bad habit. What is the pre-trigger that happens before you start the smoking, the drinking, the overeating, the shouting, the self-harming, whatever there is, the procrastination? What is happening before the action? Start recognizing and think, that's what's happening. So this leads to that, and this leads to this, and so you're making all these new connections. So you're very aware, and awareness is so important, because now you know what to avoid and how to react in a different way, so you can change that habit. So next time you realize that you've been on Instagram for an hour instead of working on your project, don't get upset. Just stop and immediately engage in a new positive action. Maybe learn a new word in a foreign language. Maybe do deep breathing for 3 minutes. Something good and positive to disrupt the cycle. And by the way, we're talking about breathing, and just tomorrow I'm going to record a new podcast episode with my colleague Chris, and he will be talking a lot about the importance of breathing to change your life. So remember to come back to the next episode. So more stuff I want to talk about. Let's go back. So you have recognized what's happening before, you're recognizing what to do instead. What's happening if every time you get yourself right when the trigger is starting, you will notice that your habitual behavior that is not very good is starting to change. And very soon you will respond to this trigger event X with the action Z instead of the action Y that you wanted to replace to begin with, so that you could create the new habit, the new result, the new life that you wanted. And this is really the secret for changing your unproductive or annoying or negative habits that you are fed up of having into ones that are serving you and they are helping you to create the state, the homeostasis, the happiness, the balance that you are looking for. If you, after all these examples, etc., are still kind of thinking, I don't have the strength for this, I keep having a voice in my head telling me I can't do this, okay, then there are other problems to take care of, and that's the time when you want a session. So feel free to ask me any questions. I'm always here. Go to calendly.com/FranSydney, set up an appointment there, or just send me a message. I'm there, fransydney.com. I'm on Facebook, I'm Instagram, Create with France. You can find me anywhere. So it's easy to find me, and I'm very happy to help you. I always work for my clients for a month, work with them for the entire month at a fixed price. You have no surprises, and you know how much you're paying, and you always get an amazing result. So why not doing that this year? You deserve it. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed this episode and you will find it useful, especially now that the new year is starting. So thank you for being with me, and I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye. You have listened to Create with France Sydney.